Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the 105th episode of Stories of Service, ordinary people who do extraordinary work. And I'm the host of Stories of Service, Teresa Carpenter. And today I have an amazing guest and somebody that I have admired from afar ever since this past summer when I was in Spain and happened to see that there was such a nation called Slowjamistan. So I have the Sultan of Slowjamistan. Mr. Sultan, how are you doing today?
One moment. Teresa, Jackie, hold my calls. I'm on with Teresa. So block out some time. Tell everybody I'm busy. The podcast is my priority. In fact, close the consulate. I'll tell you when I'm done. All right? Thank you. All my attention is yours. Welcome. How are you doing?
I feel so privileged. I'm so excited to have you on the show. I'm going to start off and I'm just going to read a little bit about your bio. But if there's anything that you want to add to the bio, if there's anything that you want to expand upon, please let me know. So our dear leader, he hosts an internationally syndicated radio show called Saturday Night Slow Jams, currently heard on over 200 radio stations across America. The show airs in major markets from New York City to San Francisco, from Chicago to Phoenix, and many big cities and small towns in between. You should listen. Our Sultan has been a full-time radio host since the tender age of 16. Today, he spends most of his time outside of Slowjamistan, which is located about 70 miles away, where he works at San Diego radio stations Magic 92.5 and Z90. And His Excellency also hosts the afternoon show on Magic 92.5. But if he's not there, chances are he's fled the continent. Randy's mission in life, besides building this awesome new nation, is to visit every country in the world, all 193 of them, and he's done that. Just finished that up this past May when he arrived in Turkmenistan. And he has written 2 books, produced a feature-length, award-winning film, and has appeared on an episode of Judge Mathis, where he was victorious, and ABC's Shark Tank. And another fun fact, he still owns his very first car, a 1983 Cutlass Supreme lowrider that he has had since he was 15 years old. And finally, one of his most important projects includes building wells for the small villages in rural Africa without clean water. With the help of listeners and supporters, the Sultan and his friends have constructed 3 wells in Africa since 2017. What a story, Mr. Sultan. How are you doing?
Well, boy, you read the resume. It's lots of work over the past few decades. I feel like I should be making lots more money than I have. Apparently, I've been making stupid financial decisions. I should be doing much better off than I am, but I'm alive and healthy and happy, so be it.
So be it. So tell me a little bit about what was the inspiration behind Slowjamistan. So what was the first spark that piqued your curiosity to say, I'm going to create my own nation?
Well, here in America, we are facing a big problem, a big epidemic. I think the word shoes is too generous because they are not shoes, but I'll use that for timing purposes because it would be too long to explain, but we'll call them shoes. In America, there are these shoes, big rubber shoes, look like.
And I can't get my husband to break with them. I'm so sorry. I've been trying to get rid of these, and I will, I promise.
Look at those dastards. Hold them up again. Look how embarrassing these things look. It used to be that only special people wore these, and now it has inflicted the mainstream, and you see all kids and adults, young and old, of all different colors, wearing these abhorrent things on their feet. I don't even like to say the name, but I'll say the name. They're called Crocs. And, well, this upset me and other people as well. And so in America, we tried to stop the Crocs. We tried to initiate conversations with local, regional, and national law enforcement, government agencies, politicians. We showed up at the White House with petitions and signs. But we said, look, these should not be allowed in America. But unfortunately, they turned the blind eye, a deaf ear to our request to stop the Crocs. Well, we had 2 choices. We could have done a violent uprising, but the Sultan is a peaceful man. So instead, what do? You have to do something about it instead of just complaining. I decided I'm going to make a country of my own, and we're going to outlaw the Crocs. So what you just showed me right there, it is a statute number 1 against the rules in Slowjamistan. Crocs are forbidden not just to wear them, but even to bring them across the border. We have a very strong border control and customs, immigration checkpoint. And we're happy to say that not many Crocs have made it into the borders of Slowjamistan. So that was one of the inspirations.
How did you make sure that the no Crocs would enter? Like, what do? Do you do just an inspection at the gate to make sure that people don't bring them in?
Well, the first thing is messages, right? We want to dissuade people from even trying it, right? If they know the penalty is stiff, they won't try it, right? Unlike America, where everything is happening without consequences, right? If you know in Slowjamistan, if you wear the Crocs, you know that first we will apprehend you, then we will forcibly remove the Crocs, and then beat you over the head with your own dirty Crocs. I don't think anybody wants to have that fate. So far, look, people have respected our land, and they know that the punishment is swift and severe. So we have not had many Croc offenders.
But there's more rules than just this. I mean, the Crocs is the main rule, but I've also heard, Mr. Sultan, that there's some other rules in your nation. Can you tell us something to do with cheese? I think.
Well, the good thing about when you have your own nation, you can make your own rules. So all of the things that used to upset me as a young boy and a young man, I can outlaw. For example, many years ago, my roommate, he walked into the living room. This is in California. He walked into the living room, he had a big, beautiful stick of string cheese in his hand. He said, "Hello, Ardab," and he took a big bite of it. And I almost fell on the floor. I said, "My friend, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm eating cheese." There are barbarians in the United States and other places. They don't understand that string cheese is to be peeled. That's why it's called string cheese. If you want to bite cheese, buy a block of cheese. Buy a big Velveeta block. Stick it in your mouth. So anyway, in Slowjamistan, you must eat string cheese properly. There is no time for chopping string cheese in Slowjamistan. Also, for those of you who work in a corporate environment, possibly one of the worst things ever is when the boss sends out an all-staff email to everybody. He may say, "Hello, section staff, we'll see you Saturday at the company picnic. Can't wait to see you." There is always one idiot, one brown noser, one guy or girl who decides to reply all, saying, "I can't wait, I'm very excited." And they reply all to all 500 people in the chain, and then another person. And before you know it, 10 minutes, you have 30 new emails. Like you don't have other things to do at your job, okay? And then, of course, you have to reply all. Don't reply all. But by doing that, you've replied all to everybody. It's a cycle. It's never ending. You cannot reply all unnecessarily in Slowjamistan. If you do that, we will infect your computer, and you will only be able to type in Comic Sans font for 30 days. So the punishment, once again, is swift. But we are also lenient on some things. For example, in Slowjamistan, we do allow speeding on the highways if you are bringing home tacos, because nobody likes cold tacos. And I know in America, the time that I put the pedal to the metal is when I'm going home from Taco Bell and I have a little bag of tacos, because in 10 minutes it's cold already. So you better go very fast. So if we pull you over, all you have to say is, "Look, I have tacos," and you're excused. Go. In fact, we'll give you a police escort to your house to keep the tacos out.
That's nice. Yeah, cold tacos are the worst. I mean, they're not even. You can't even taste them when you have them. So no, I agree. That is a wonderful rule. What about this particular area in Palm Springs? I think it's near Palm Springs, and it's got this beautiful sand, and it's on the side of the highway. What about that area? I mean, in fact, it's your backdrop. I mean, we can kind of get a picture of it right there. What about that beautiful area of land attracted you to that portion of our country?
Fantastic land. And for those who are tuning in and wanting to know what are you talking about, is Slowjamistan real? It is absolutely real. It's a 11 little over 11 acres of land. It is our country. The land was declared sovereign and independent December 1st. 2021. We did a live stream. We also notified the White House and the UN as well. The land, that you can see, it's beautiful. It's beautiful desert land. It is, let's see, we've got sand over there. We've got sand. Sand over there. Small river that runs through as well.
Yeah, what's up with the lazy river? I heard that you were going to build a lazy river, and I haven't seen. Is it there? Do you have it?
Rome was not built in a day. We have plans to build the lazy river, all-you-can-eat Mongolian barbecue restaurant, an interactive armadillo farm, because what good is an armadillo farm if you can't interact with the armadillos? Very small, very cute. So we have many plans, but first electricity and water. We take it step by step. Our TV network only has 3 cable channels, so we're working on the basics first, then we expand.
Yes. What are the 3 cable channels that you have?
What do we have? Nick at Night, I believe. The gardening channel. What is the other one? I believe VH1 Soul, the black VH1 with the slow jams.
Yes. So is it only slow jams that you can play in Slowjamistan? You cannot play a fast song or a classical music or a country song? Has to be a slow jam?
It is a vicious rumor that has been spread by the American propaganda press. That is not true. Of course, Slowjamistan is our national music. I'm a slow jams DJ. So when I say slow jams, we talk about Usher, Luther Vandross, Anita Baker, some Marvin Gaye, slow jams, nice, nice sexy music.
I'll Be Sure.
I'll Be Sure is a good friend of mine. Yes. In fact, I hired Al B. Shore many years ago in Los Angeles. He did work for a radio station with me. So I'm glad you know Al B. Shore. He's one of my favorites.
I love his music, actually.
So we must talk later. Are you married?
Yes, I am.
Does your husband appreciate Al B. Shore like you do?
I don't know if he does. He doesn't. He didn't listen to the Night and Day song like I did underneath my pillow with my radio at night as I did. In fact, his whole cassette tape I would listen to repeatedly. Actually, growing up.
You deserve a husband that appreciates Al B. Shore as much as you do.
I mean, he's a master.
Currently, the Sultan has 18 wives. We'll talk later if you want to be 19. Okay. But anyway, back to the music. No offense to Mr. Carpenter, just a joke. But going back to the music, slow jams official, but many music is allowed. Really, the only music that is banned is called mumble rap. And do you know mumble rap music? It's the new rap music that's coming out these days. It's
where you can't hear the lyrics, right?
There is no melody. You can't hit it. They use the voice, the auto tune, etc. But we absolutely love 90s hip hop. So, for example,
right.
LL Cool J, Notorious.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. What about like Jay-Z or Eazy-E or all the greats from Snoop Dogg and oh yeah, NWA and I mean this is so sad. I know every Eazy-E song. And they're really bad lyrics. They're kind of like today's world would not appreciate some of the things that was being said back then. But oh gosh, those were like that's classic hip hop. So you guys are into that. Okay.
Teresa, we would not know it from your appearance that you are from the streets. I had no clue. Fantastic. Yes. Very impressed.
Yes,
so all of that is good. In fact, if you get caught listening to mumble rap in public in Slowjamistan, you must write an 800-word dissertation on LL Cool J and what his music meant to the hip-hop industry. So what about re-educating people? We have a nice Slowjamistan re-education camp that can help with many things, including your terrible taste in music and shoes.
Well, and they should really play that halftime show that just won an Emmy that Jay-Z produced. Actually, he's got an exhibit at the New York Brooklyn Library right now. I just watched a Today Show episode about that, and hip hop is an art form, and I'm so glad to hear that it's not just slow jams, but that you have that appreciation for hip hop.
It's an art form, but it has been destroyed lately from the new generation, and I'm very sad because the music today is it's not very good.
Yes. So I had some questions, and if you guys have any questions for the Sultan, please put these in the comments. Daryl Hinch says, this is hilarious. He's a good friend of mine and a former podcast guest.
Mr. Hinch.
Yes, Mr. Daryl Hinch.
How am I hilarious? Hilarious how? Like a clown?
I don't know. He just says that you're hilarious. I don't know. I'd have to. Maybe he's still on the line and he can tune in. But I do have a couple questions for you if you're willing to answer. My first question is, have you signed any treaties with country allies? And if so, which ones?
We have not signed treaties. In fact, we have a diplomatic policy. And that is, well, how do I explain? First of all, one of the most asked questions is, does any other country recognize Slowjamistan? Where did I go? There I am. People ask, does any other country recognize Slowjamistan? And I will tell you that what makes Slowjamistan and other micronations great is it is written into law. To be a country, you do not have to have recognition from anybody. It is Article 3 of the Montevideo Convention, and it basically says you must have borders, land, government, a population. If you have that, you're a country, and recognition from anybody else does not matter at all. So not many treaties have signed. We signed a small treaty with Comcast for some cable television, treaty with the Imperial County on some foreign aid. They sent us a tax bill for the land, and we sent them a check, but we said, look, it's foreign aid because we don't pay taxes. It's our own country. So, I mean, we've signed a few things. But yes, treaties, I don't like a lot of paperwork. Yes, that's right. You look at every government and it's too much bureaucracy and red tape. So we understand we just live, we listen to music, we have a good time, we kick back, not much paperwork.
Right. So, do you have any official membership? So, if NATO, or I did see that you were outside of the NATO headquarters not too long ago, or the EU approached you for membership, what would you be your position?
Well, look, we've actually approached United Nations and says, look, let's just have a seat, please, at the desk. Unfortunately, the fees to be a member of the United Nations, it is in the hundreds of thousands. I think it's a multi-level marketing scheme. I think it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the people that trying to sell you the vitamins and the supplements. It's a scam. So I told them if you would like to give us a complimentary or a trial membership in the UN, we would be delighted to accept a seat. But for now, we have not been answered that request yet.
I see. So Daryl Hinch, you've definitely inspired him. He says this is very interesting. I was just talking to a friend about buying land, so he is interested in the micronation world, and I do believe that you just recently came back from a micronation conference. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely, there are other crazy people like me all around the world. There are over, well, some people say 200 or 400 micronations around the globe in all continents. We meet every 2 years at a big conference called Microcon. This year's Microcon was hosted by the Queen of Ladonia in Chicago. So me and my delegation, we flew the Slowjamistan Air One to Chicago, and we had a nice 2-day conference. Met with everybody, did some speeches, shook hands, pictures. No assassination attempts, thankfully, because we had good security, and it was fun. Anybody can go to these micronation conferences, by the way, to be an observer. Or if you have a micronation of your own, you can go and display your stuff, your flag and your passports, and meet other like-minded crazy people like me.
Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, I think a lot of people just don't know that there's an ability to do something like this. And like you said, I think you even said that your mother was very impressed and didn't understand exactly what you were doing. But has she come around? Has she warmed up to the idea?
What is the opposite of impressed in English? Whatever that is, that is what
Disgusted, surprised. I don't know.
I
I don't
believe.
know.
I believe the quote that will go down in history. In my very first post on Instagram, if you scroll like 2 years ago, it is a picture of the land and then a quote from my dear mother who says, "Randy, you've had lots of good ideas in your lifetime. This is not one of them."
So she's never been to Slowjamistan.
She's not been to Slowjamistan.
No. Okay. Well, maybe she'll come someday.
One day.
Maybe.
She needs
So
the air conditioning. It's very hot.
yes, I understand. Does Slowjamistan have a Peace Corps or a similar civic organization?
We do, yes. We have a clean Slowjamistan campaign where we pick up the highway trash from the Americans. We have a highway that from America that runs parallel to Slowjamistan, and well, the dirty Americans sometimes throw out the Funyuns bag or the beer can, and makes a big mess. Sometimes it blows past our border control, and so yes, we like to clean. We like to volunteer. As we mentioned, we have the program in Africa. Hopefully, we'll do a new well next year as well. Number 4.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that. Actually, tell me a little bit about the Clean Water Campaign in Africa.
That was done before Slowjamistan, and look, lots of things in Slowjamistan you can say is satire and fun and jokey, but this is a serious thing.
Sure.
I visited Africa for the first time in 2016. Also had a coworker of mine, his daughter actually, she was I think maybe 14 years old, and she, all credit to her because it was her idea, she did bake sales and rummage sales and marathons and all these amazing things to raise money to build a well. And I said, that's just so inspiring. If you can do it, of course, I and all my listeners can do it as well. So I call upon my listeners on my radio show to donate a little bit of money, and then we build a well in so far 2 in Uganda and 1 in the Central African Republic. These are villages that have no clean water at all. The village people, children as well, have to walk sometimes miles just to go to like a muddy area with water that is not clean. Very sad. And so we have a great group of people that we work with to build wells, and we built, like I said, 3 so far, and met some amazing people, and I think changed some lives with the help of our listeners and our citizens.
And do you've really had a radio show since you were 16, and it's still the same radio show through all these years? Wow. Do you have some people who have followed you from when you started the show and are still with you today?
Absolutely. Started in the small town of Tucson, Arizona, on a little AM radio commercial hip hop station, and to this day we have people who will say, "Hey, I remember listening to you from Power 1490 in 1994." And now they have kids who listen, and the kids call in and say, "My mom used to listen." So it's a very, very fantastic experience. I'm very blessed to continue to work in the medium that is radio.
Yeah. It just shows you the power of consistency and just doing what you love and doing it over and over again. And then now you've got this entire nation and a lot of people are curious about it. In fact, Daryl Hinch is still on the line and he says, I've never heard of this. And how do you find more information about purchasing such land? And then we did say where he was located. He's located, I don't remember exactly where outside Palm Springs, but near Palm Springs, California. If somebody is interested in starting a micronation, what would be your advice for them?
Of course. So first of all, Mr. Hinch, if you go down the rabbit hole and type in Slowjamistan, you can see it on my little thing there. Type that in Google after the video, of course, not now. You can see my website. You can see social media. You can see the story. You can see videos. You can see the activities we have. You can read about the history. Not to pimp the website, but the website is very structured. So you can see history. You can see the facts, the FAQs, the facts. We give a fax on there, FAQ fax.
I have to share it right now while we're talking. So here it is. Here's the website. They just did their No Croctober photos and recap right here, which was an amazing event that I wish I could have been at. I saw all the images. They were gorgeous. And then you have the Ain't No Party Like a Slowjamistan party right here.
I want you to go back up, though, if you can. I want you to go back up. And if you look at the little tabs, if you just hover over the About,
yep,
that's the main thing you look. You can see the laws, you can see the Sultan, the parliament, you can see the press, all of the citizens. So everything is spelled out there. You could spend your entire weekend enjoying this, make a snack and enjoy and just learn a lot about Slowjamistan. And then, of course, you can Google other micronations. Then there are many fascinating ones. It was certainly not my idea alone. I was inspired by other micronations. That's our shop, of course. We can.
Yes. I got a flag from you guys, actually. So I have it hanging at my work at NATO. And many people ask me about it. And it's always a good conversation piece where I can explain what you're doing and what you're about and why I'm so passionate about Slowjamistan and what you guys are doing. So I do have a couple other questions. What is your position on animal protection?
Side note to answer Daryl's questions about land. Anyone can buy land, and you can buy land very cheap. You'll find land can be very, very inexpensive, but it's usually inaccessible. Like in middle of Arkansas, and you can't even get not even a road to it. The land gets more expensive the closer it gets to civilization as well. So think about it carefully. Once you go down that road, it's no turning back. But once I had that idea in my head, I went to Zillow, and I had criteria. My criteria was it had to be drivable from where I lived in San Diego, so I had to be able to drive there. Number 2, it had to be over 5 acres. I wanted something grand. Number 3, it had to be accessible. I wanted it to be accessible, and of course, number 4, it had to be below a certain price. So have your own criteria, and then look for land. And it's free to look. It's free to window shop. You just go online to Zillow, and you'll be surprised what you can find out there. Protection of animals. Our national animal is the raccoon. It's the Slowjamistan ring-tailed raccoon. We have signs all over Slowjamistan that talks about respecting the raccoon. You can even Google it. You'll see the signs. We even sell a shirt with the raccoon laws on the shirt. So we've had the problem in the past with people feeding raccoons food like tacos. It's not very good for the raccoons. So it literally says, do not feed the raccoons. And it's a big X over a raccoon eating a taco. So we revere and respect the Slowjamistan raccoon. He is the national animal. The mascot his name is Slowjamistanly is his name. Beautiful, right?
Gotcha. Do you have any upcoming events or anything that the public should be aware of that's on the horizon?
We usually have an event or two in the can. We don't as of now. We had our last event on October 7th. It was a regal affair. We had under 50,000 people. Traffic was backed up for feet. It was just a good time. We sampled Kool-Aid. We sang the national anthem. We had the piñata. It was a good time. Next event, I'm not sure when. We're waiting for the right occasion, but we will do it. Once again, it's on the way. It will be on the website. You can sign up to be notified. You can get our newsletter, which is absolutely free, and we'll send you an invitation.
Awesome. I can't think of any other questions off the top of my head. Is there anything else that you wanted to put out to our listeners that, or the people who are watching, that I didn't address about
Well,
Slowjamistan?
people ask about the good looks of the Sultan. It does come from my father as well, but my mother was, good looking as well. So that is where the good looks. It's all real. It's not no plastic surgery as well. I have a skincare regimen every morning,
Mhm.
so there's
Okay.
that. But the main thing is, we welcome you to Slowjamistan. Anyone can be a citizen. It is absolutely free. If you want
Mhm.
an upgrade like a passport, of course, you can pay for that. T-shirts, we have hats, as you can see. We don't charge taxes in Slowjamistan. In especially in California, we are taxed to death from the moment.
Oh, yes.
I mean, even when you die, there is a death tax. It is
Yeah, I used
property
to live
tax,
there. I remember. Yep.
gasoline tax. No taxes in Slowjamistan yet. How we thrive is through the selling of merchandise like the bumper stickers and T-shirts, etc. I would tell you that unfortunately, Slowjamistan is on the brink of a financial crisis. We have overspent. The sign very expensive. So, if you'd like to buy a bumper sticker, you should definitely do it. It will help build the infrastructure of Slowjamistan. It does not go to the Sultan; it goes directly to the land that is Slowjamistan. And we just welcome you up. Teresa, where are you from? What state?
I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio, but I lived in San Diego. I'm active duty in the Navy, and so I lived in San Diego off and on throughout my career. I think I've been stationed there 3 or 4 times. So definitely have a soft spot in my heart for San Diegoans and this area of the country. So yeah, I think this is an amazing idea, and I think that more people ought to consider doing such a thing. It's a wonderful way to bring people together and bring community and celebrate good times.
Well, we welcome you with open arms. Where are you now? What state?
Well, I'll go back to split screen. I'm currently in the United Kingdom and I'm at NATO Allied Maritime Command. So I'm actually at the maritime arm of NATO. That's why I was asking you questions about NATO. And when I saw that you went to our headquarters, I was very excited. In fact, I even emailed my NATO HQ buddies with your picture, and they verified that you were actually there that day. But unfortunately, the security was a little bit tight, is what I was told. So maybe as later time you can pay a visit. But they did acknowledge that you had visited the building.
Well, I'll tell you, I was physically removed from NATO. They let me in the gate. I said I had an appointment with Mr. Stolzberg, and they opened the gate, and I drove in, and I walked through security, and then a big man came out. Come with me, you can be here. And I'm the Sultan. And it was a calamity at its best. So
Yeah, I saw your picture online and I sent it to my buddy Matthias. He does media up there. And I said, did you know that the Sultan of Slowjamistan went to your building? And I sent the picture and he wrote me back and said, yeah, we know, but he wasn't a threat. It was harmless, but we didn't let him in. I was like, oh,
next
that's
time I
too bad.
expect more hospitality, okay?
Yeah, yeah. I'll see what I can do. I did show your picture at the NATO Communicators Conference as an influencer. I don't know if anybody caught on to that or not, but I'm doing my part to spread the joy and the what you're about and what you're trying to do here because I fully support it. So with that, do you have anything else to add before we get off the call?
Thank you so much. Your broadcast stories of service. Honestly, I pale in comparison to the past guests that you've had on. We're all about just having fun, and I'll leave you with this. On a more serious note, if anything is to be learned by Slowjamistan, if it's some people say, is this a social experiment? I will tell you that one rule we have that is a little less satirical is in Slowjamistan. When you come to Slowjamistan, you leave all of the labels at the border. Okay, so whatever religion you are, or your sexual preference, or your skin color, your background, where you were born, your socioeconomic status, you leave it behind when you enter Slowjamistan. When you are in Slowjamistan, you, me, all of us, we are all simply Slowjamistanis, no labels. I say this because, not to get political, because we leave all of the politics aside.
Sure, sure.
But in America, there is a increase on labels, and everybody is a certain label. Certain African American, Mexican American, Arab American, LBGTQ or whatever. But they always leave American for the last, or they don't even say American at all. And I scratch my head. But wait a minute, we're all Americans, and I think it's been lost in America. So we're kind of doing a reboot and trying it again. Again, in Slowjamistan, we accept everybody, But when you are in Slowjamistan, we are simply all Slowjamistanis. And if 1, 2, 3 people in America take this message as, yes, maybe we need to bring America back to the time where, despite our differences, because we are all different, that's what makes America great, we're all Americans. Possibly, if I can have any little small influence in helping bring that sentiment back, we would have done our job. That is all.
Well, I love it. You know, I see all the comments too from people from all over the world who have jumped on what you're doing and want to be members of Slowjamistan. And so that just shows you the global impact of this movement and what you're doing. And it is all in satire, but behind all of it is a very serious message. And I get that. So it just made me so happy. I went on the Slowjamistan rabbit hole when I found out. And like I said, I was on a cruise in Spain, and I saw the site. I don't even remember how. I think I saw a Vice News or one of those YouTube videos about it, one of the ones that went viral. And I thought, and then it just got me down that rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, it has a website. This person really bought land and they did this. How? I had no idea there was even such a thing that you could do it. So love what you're doing, and keep it up. And I fully support you. I'm going to go full screen and just close out the call, but I want to just say goodbye backstage real fast. But thank you so much for joining Stories of Service. It's definitely you're not my typical guest, which I think is what makes it even that much more special. And thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, my friends.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to join the call today. And I will see you next week. I have a military member, or a former military, a veteran, who now runs an outdoor travel company for military families and military members, really. And it's all about ethical travel. And there is such a thing. I mean, I'm a huge traveler, and she has really dug into that issue. So yeah, Kat, no worries. You'll see the replay later. But thank you all for the ones who could join us. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye now.